Right here on your Election Command Center, the National Democratic Congress has announced there will be no academic fees for level 100 students entering the university when it wins the 2024 elections. The party disclosed this at the launch of its Youth Manifesto to mark International Youth Day in Accra.
I don't know if you're excited about the few policies I've mentioned yet, but if you're not excited, I'm sure the next one is going to shock you. I want you all to say with me, no fees stressed. No fees stress. What are we saying? President John Mahama is simply promising that, one, for all university entrants into level 100, you are not paying academic fees. No academic fees for all level 100 students. We've heard many stories. We've heard many stories about students who finish school with 6 A's, 7 A's, 8 A's, and we have to start crowdfunding sources for them so they can enter into university. All of that would be a thing of the past in the next NDC administration. The second part of this policy is the Student Loan Trust Fund Plus. The student loan is basically dead as it is. When President Mahama comes back, he would revamp the Student Loan Trust Fund. And all those who struggle after the first year free academic tuition in university can apply to the Student Loan Trust Fund so they are able to continue their education without stress.
Well, we'll stay on the no-fee stress policy, and a professor at the University of Ghana College of Education, Jonathan Fletcher, is urging eligible voters to subject promises made by politicians to scrutiny. Reacting to the NDC's promise to scrap academic fees for level 100 students of public universities, he said the move is a good one, but expresses reservation in its implementation, having taken a cue from the free SHS policy.
Obviously, I believe strongly that any support that can be given to the youth is great because they need as much as support that they can get. So that is been covered in the manifesto. I think that talking about education, for example, it also talks about the CHSS system, which would improve. Well, we would expect to hear that. That tertiary education will be supported. Everyone expects to hear that. So all the things we are hearing, particularly about education, to me, they're great things. And at this stage, I will say that God is in the details. And obviously, there are things that we don't know yet. And so we need to, maybe wait and see, or in some cases, if we have data, then we will use the data to say that, well, 15 years ago, we had a government that said about education. What happened? 8 years ago, we had a government that said this about education. What happened? So, and remember that if we're talking to youth, we're talking about 15 to 35. Now, people who are 31 years old were youth in 15 years ago. So that would be 2008 or 2008. People who are 31 were youth at the time. They are youth. So they've actually seen two, governments. They've seen the NDC government for 8 years, they've seen the NDC government for 8 years. Now these people were promised something in education. Now, for me, this is the time for all of us to go back and see what was promised and what was delivered, both in both governments. So I would say that at this stage, it's very difficult to doubt whatever anyone is saying.
Meanwhile, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has reiterated his commitment to scrap taxes he considers obnoxious to the Ghanaian people when voted into office come December 7. Now, Emmanuel Samani was at a town hall meeting at the Bawku Box in Arena in Accra, where the former president has been engaging the youth and reports.
So we're here at the Bawku Boxing Arena where former President John Dramani Mahama has just concluded a dynamic town hall meeting. Mr. Mahama addressed several key issues and made significant promises regarding the economy as well as the healthcare sector. Firstly, Mr. Mahama discussed his plan to tackle the electronic levy, a tax that has been controversial and burdensome for many Ghanaians.
One of the taxes that is not performing is e-levy. E-levy, they said, will solve every problem in this country. Unfortunately, e-levy is not performing well. It's bringing in just about 1.something billion cedis. And so some of those obnoxious taxes, you can substitute them.
Next, Mr. Mahama addressed the tax on bet winnings, which he believes places an unfair burden on individuals already facing financial difficulties.
Boys, they hustle. And job no day. So now the bets, they do small, get money for gobe. You see? So I understand, as no say this one, it be matter where they concern the youth, plenty. So we talk already, say where we come, the betting tax will go remove them.
Mr. Mahama also took the opportunity to criticize the COVID-19 tax, describing it as an unjust financial burden that has become entrenched in the tax system.
We are saying that we'll rationalize those taxes because there are other areas in which we can collect taxes. There are other areas in which we can expand the tax net so that we can take those obnoxious taxes out.
Now, with the campaign moving to the Volta region, Mr. Mahama aims to maintain this momentum and engage directly with voters to discuss his vision for the future. Emmanuel Samani, TV3 News, the Bawku Boxing Arena, Accra.
Well, let's now take you to the camp of the ruling MPP, and Vice President Dr. Mahamudu has promised to support youth startups in Ghana as well as small and medium-scale enterprises when voted into power. Now, speaking to commemorate this year's International Youth Day, flag bearer of the MPP says he is confident this will provide skills to more than 1 million youth in the country.
Dr. Mahamudu emphasized government's digital initiatives in spearheading growth and development. He recalled the mobile money interoperability and the deployment of a drone system as major initiatives by the government. The Vice President emphasized the introduction of a credit scoring system when voted. To mark this year's International Youth Day, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu underscored the relevance of the youth in nation building. He promised to provide skills to over 1 million youth to engage in digital employment. Dr. Mahamudu also spoke about support for the youth who engage in startups.
Enterprise Agency and You Start offered targeted assistance to small and medium-sized enterprises and helping them to grow. We recently also launched an 8.2 billion cedi fund to support small and medium-sized enterprises to further demonstrate our commitment to youth development. And these initiatives reflect our comprehensive strategy to foster innovation, drive economic growth, and create opportunities for the younger generation.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mohammed Yusuf, assured the Ghanaian youth of more opportunities.
Ghana is committed in building entrepreneurial skills of young people, and this is evident through the series of government programs such as the Digital Marketing and Entrepreneurship Training Program under the National Youth Authority.
This year's International Youth Day is on the theme, From Clicks to Progress. Youth across the globe are leading innovations and offering unprecedented opportunities for sustainable development through digital technologies.
Well, let's stay in the camp of the MPP. An MPP parliamentary candidate for Damongo, Samuel Abujinapo, has thrown a big challenge to his opponent in the region to a live parliamentary debate to explain their respective visions, policies and achievements to voters.
Addressing hundreds of party supporters at the Zongo-Lagbonto electoral area of the Damango constituency, the Member of Parliament stated he has done enough for him to be retained in the constituency. He challenged his opponent to a debate. Abujina Paul touted his achievements on infrastructure, agriculture, youth employment, women empowerment, and many others.
They should bring it on. We are ready for them. This campaign in August, this is the first year we are in. By the end of the month, we will go to the second year. And God willing, with your support and with the blessings of Almighty, by September, we will be in the third year. And by October, we will be in the fourth year. And November, we will put it to the fifth year. And we will see who will be who in Damango constituency. By 10 p.m., the country will hear that lawyer Abujina Prof has returned the Damango seat for the new Patriotic Party. The greatest of all the news we will hear is that by midnight, that not only has the MPP clinched majority seats in Savannah, but Mahamudu has taken a commanding lead in the presidential vote of the new Patriotic Party here in Ghana.
Away from elections, with the country's unemployment still high, some tertiary students have expressed fear and uncertainty about their future, casting a shadow over their hopes and dreams. Christian Yali shares the experiences of some youth on International Youth Day.
According to the 2023 Annual Household Income and Expenditure Survey, 1.9 million youth aged 15 to 35 in Ghana are not employed. This is the concern of many youth who feel helpless about their future, questioning how they can create a bright future with such limited opportunities.
It's actually not easy being a youth in Ghana. I feel it's a whole depression on its own because Ghana as a country have its own problems and it tends to affect the youth even more. And so this places a high responsibility on me.
As for me, today's day is not a day for any Ghanaian youth to celebrate because it is a day we need to mourn and then let the politicians understand that they have woefully failed us.
The prospect of entering the job market is frustrating, especially for those who are about to complete school. But even beyond this, some are worried about how high mental health cases among the youth are soaring, a problem that has not received much attention.
My main challenge for the youth is not really unemployment. It has to do with mental health issues. You know, as a youth, you battle with decisions, choices. Now I'm in 400, I'm about to leave school. Every day on my bed, every day when I am on my bed, I think, so what am I going to do after school? Am I going to be part of the unemployed labor or am I going to get employed? Where am I even going to stay? Where am I going to do my national service? These are things that can really affect your mental health.
Reports indicate that productivity has stagnated in various services, especially in the employment sector. And for many, successive governments seem not to have done enough to address the challenges.
I believe that whenever I speak of celebration, it's two things that come to play. Is celebrating how far you've come and then also acknowledging what is to come. We are in a dispensation where, for lack of better words, let me say, it looks like there is no hope for the youth. I mean, if you don't know anybody, then whatever it is they are doing, there is no motivation or nothing arouses your interest to keep on doing it.
In fact, we are in this school, University of Ghana. We are not doing anything. What we are doing right now as our occupation is students. Our parents send us money and we use that money to feed ourselves. They send you more than, let's say, 500 cedis, and within the next few days, you know you can't buy food 30 Ghana cedis on campus to even eat.
As unemployment, underemployment, and limited opportunities surge among the youth, a strong call is made for meaningful participation of young people in governance to address the looming challenges.
At the end of the degree, at the end of the masters, what do we see? We are still unemployed and unemployment rate is that high in our community. They should create more employment opportunities for the youth.
So as today is being marked as International Youth Day, this is the call that policymakers factor the youth in the country's developmental agenda. Christian Yali, TV3 News, University of Ghana.
On to some more stories now. The Electricity Company of Ghana has once again blamed the cedi depreciation for losses recorded in the 2022 financial year. Parliament's Public Accounts Committee today had cause to express concern regarding the state of the power distributor after it noted it has, in the last few years, been recording losses.
What's the other income?
It has to do with providing other services such as distribution transformers and expanding other areas or industrial zones that are applied for by customers.
Your distribution expenses, however, also saw a huge jump, and administrative expenses also recorded same, above 30%, 36.3% for administrative expenses and 32.6% for distribution expenses. Finance costs, understandable, also went up slightly, 11%. Any reason for this?
Mr. Chair, our distribution costs going up is as a result of Forex. Most of our jobs that we do within ECG are all priced in US dollars. The meter purchases, the transformer purchases, the wood pole purchases, and in fact the intensification jobs themselves are all priced in the United States dollars. So that's the reason why the distribution cost has gone up.
Well, that Public Accounts Committee sit-in happened yesterday, and you heard there the ECG being interrogated at that sit-in. Now to some education stories, and the Conference of Principals and Colleges of Education Ghana, PRINCOF, is yet to decide on whether to close down the colleges or not. Teachers of the Colleges of Education have been on strike for 2 months over conditions of service, forcing the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana to call for the closure of the colleges. Here's a news desk report.
On June 14, teachers of all the 46 colleges of education embarked on a nationwide strike to demand implementation of the arbitral award and conditions of service by the National Labour Commission. They are also demanding the migration of staff onto the university payroll structure, the payment of the all-year-round allowance for 2022, and the book and research top-up allowances. Meetings were held to iron out issues and get the teachers back to the classrooms, but to no avail.
I have a letter, 11th July 2024. This is coming from Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Request for nomination to constitute a committee to migrate staff of the colleges of education. This is a letter coming to GTech, requesting for financial support to implement same. So on the issue of the migration, it is unfortunate that CTAG is a little bit skeptical about the commitment of GTech to ensure that they are migrated.
The teachers were threatened of non-payment of their July salaries, but they could not be bothered. Students, including first years who reported to school with full anticipation of academic learning, could not have the opportunity to be taught by their tutors. Most of them, who could not bear the financial difficulties on the campuses, had to go back home with just a few left on the campuses. It's been 2 months of no academic activity, leaving students helpless and frustrated.
The strike is worrying us because we've been first-year students. We're not expecting this thing.
Students are in a confused state as I speak, especially level 400s. We rented outside, thinking that the semester will be within the 3-month range. Now, the strike has been over a month now.
I'm doing mathematics, so most of the formulas, I need to get it from the lecturers and then get the understanding well. But I really find it difficult to cope with such formulas.
On August 9, the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, TTAG, urged the Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, PRINCOF, to close down the colleges by Monday, August 12, withhold the examination for this semester, and annul the current semester for a fresh one, insisting 54 days of no academic work has rendered the current semester useless. It's Monday, August 12, and President of Prof, Professor Samuel Atintonu, says a meeting is yet to be held with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission (GTEC) and the Ministry of Education over TTAC demands. So the question is, will Prof close down the schools, and how would the academic calendar which has been disrupted be amended?
On to some labor stories now. The Ghana National Association of Teachers has given the Ministry of Education 2 weeks to distribute remaining laptops meant for teachers. According to the union, the delay is creating agitations and anger among members, which could mar the peaceful industrial climate. General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa Tanko, spoke with our labor correspondent, Daniel Opoku, in Accra.
So far, more than 3,000 of the laptops have been distributed to teachers nationwide. There are over 60,000 more of the laptops which are yet to be distributed since 2018. The delay has created anger among teachers nationwide. In July this year, the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Ose Edichum, promised to distribute the laptops by August 31. General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Musa Tanko, appealed to the minister to abide by the deadline.
The Labour Commission accepted the deadline given by the minister himself, the period within which the deprived area allowance will be worked on, and also what Ghana we have the DD, the promotion from the rank of a deputy director to director 2 and subsequently director 1. We have the issue of the laptop. Then we have the issue of the scheme of service. So these are all issues that the minister himself promised.
In another development, NAT has expressed concern about the high cost of living. It cited from January to June this year, fuel has increased more than 17%. A bag of cement is currently hovering over 100 cedis. The General Secretary called on government to roll out policies to address the situation.
Association of Garages and Industries. Okay, their press releases and then they are input into the budget. And if you look at the kind of numerous challenges that they have enumerated, particularly in the area of taxes imposed upon them, which is killing their businesses. The only way we can get out of this is to help these industries so that we can get out of this IMF business and also going to having gone to the IMF 17 times.
On the upcoming elections, NAT called the Electoral Commission to be firm and fair.
And therefore, they must be fair and firm. And let the will of the people be reflected as it takes. Right. Regardless of who it takes. Once the people have spoken, the same thing should be reflected.
Now, energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana is urging the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, to find a way to integrate LPG marketers into the cylinder recirculation model that does not require them to scrap their existing equipment and infrastructure. He noted that allowing the marketers to continue using their existing infrastructure saves them from significant financial losses and preserves their investments.
The LPG Marketing Companies Association of Ghana, effective today, August 12, started a boycott of Sage Petroleum and Blue Ocean to protect businesses of its members. The two bulk suppliers have been licensed to retail LPG through the cylinder recirculation model. This, the LPG Marketers Association believes, is an attempt to grant monopolistic powers to the two entities. While the association has no objection to the suppliers becoming retailers, they argue that it's unfair for them to also supply LPG to the association's members while competing against them in the retail space. Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana has urged the National Petroleum Authority to intervene in the dispute with disgruntled LPG marketers to prevent a potential disruption in LPG supply.
But the regulator will have to probably sit down and engage further with this disgruntled members of the association, the LPG marketers, and then the tanker drivers to be able to resolve this issue. Because sometimes issues start like this in their minute form, and when they are not handled or nipped in the bud, the potential for them to skyrocket into levels that we may not like it is high.
He is also urging the NPA to urgently explore ways to integrate the LPG marketers into the recirculation model without requiring them to decommission their existing infrastructure.
If they could assimilate it into the current model, that would have been great. If they can find a position, a place for them within the chain, the distribution chain of the current model, that would be fine. So I urge the regulator to look into that to see probably where some of these players can be found. Otherwise, we may have to give them a little bit of time.
Well, that's all we have for you for 6M News right here on TV3. It's a pleasure coming to you always. My name is Judith Brown. Stay tuned for the rest of New Day. Good morning.